Hello and welcome back to another FPL team selection video. It has been a couple of weeks since I have done one of these, so a lot has changed. If you've been keeping up with me on Twitter, I've obviously posted my team as it has went over the last couple of weeks, so you will have at least some insight as to what's been going on for transfers and rank and stuff. Now, as you can see below me, you can see my rank, which is now 1.3 million, and I think I've claimed about 1 million places or so in the last 2 weeks since I last done a team selection video, so a nice little rise, thankfully. We are still aiming for that top 1 million over the next couple of weeks, so we can have a nice big charge towards the end of the season. We of course have our wildcards now available, our second wildcard of the season. I don't think I'm going to be using that for the next little while. Obviously we'll take a look at transfers and stuff that we are making this week in a little minute. For last week's team, game week 19, we ended up with 75 points, and that did shoot me up a couple 100,000 places. It was a nice little week for some players at the very least, and unfortunately, again, as you can see on the bench, it was another big week of bench hauls. Again, very frustrating. Doesn't really feel like I'm getting a week off without someone on the bench doing fantastically. This week it was two players on the bench, Rodgers picking up an 11-pointer and Jimenez picking up a 9-pointer. I think the most frustrating thing is Jimenez, because he was playing against Bournemouth at home and I was going to play him until I seen a lot of, tweets and stuff about him potentially being rotated. We obviously saw the likes of Jackson rotated up front. Jimenez has been rotated multiple times, and it feels as though, even though I've had Jimenez for about 7 weeks or something now, every time I play him he blanks, and every time I put him on the bench he hauls. So quite frustrating. But it is what it is. I think with Rodgers, I was always going to bench him anyway, so I can't really be too worried or too bothered about that. Lewis was the one I played ahead of him, and he still, got a 6-pointer. So not too bad at the end of the day. A nice captaincy, of course, with Salah with 32 points. Trent, who we brought in the last few weeks, picking up a 15-pointer, which was brilliant. Gordon returning, Isak returning. Ever since I brought Gordon in, he's been great, apart from that 1 week that I did bring him in, which I think was Brentford. He's been brilliant, and a lot of people do seem to be bringing him in now, so it was good to get early on him. Odegaard has been a little bit of a disappointment. He was my Saka replacement. He isn't really doing as well as I thought. For him, I will speak about it in a little minute. Now, you'll notice I do still have Cunha in the team as well. He picked up a 1-pointer. He did come off injured, but now we do have information on his suspension. He's going to be out for 2 games. However, one of those games is going to be the FA Cup match, so he is going to be the one who transfers out. Let's see who's coming in for him. So what I do think is going to be a very popular transfer this week, it's going to be Cunha coming out, and Chris Wood is going to be the one coming back in. He, I believe, is the most transferred player in the whole game so far this game week, and Cunha is going to be one of the most transferred out, so a very popular move for a lot of people. Considering I've already got Isak and Jimenez, bringing Wood in, for me, I think is probably the best front three I could have at the minute. Again, Jackson's probably the other one I would like, but I'm not going to take out Jimenez at the minute with Fulham's good fixtures. So a really nice front three at the minute for me. Chris Wood was always going to come back in at some point. He is very outperforming his stats so far this season, which obviously isn't ideal, but Wood doesn't seem to stop scoring, and he has nice fixtures as well. So for me, it just seemed like the best replacement for Cunha. Did speak about a little bit more about Wood in our transfer tips video this week, so if you want to hear more about him, make sure you go and check that out after you watch this video. Now obviously Cunha has came out in this team again. He is banned, he's also injured. I'm not sure on the severity of the injury, but he also has horrendous fixtures. All Wolves players at the minute, if you own any, should probably be looking to come out, because their next 5 fixtures: Nottingham Forest, one of the best teams in the league so far this season; Newcastle, very strong on form recently; Chelsea, of course, title contenders; Arsenal, title contenders; and then Villa as well, a very tough fixture in game week 24. So very tough fixtures for Wolves. I think even past game week 24, they really don't look like they have a good little a nice run. Then obviously banned games, he is going to be banned for that Nottingham Forest fixture, and then they're playing Bristol away in the FA Cup. That is going to be one of his banned games as well. So he will be back for game week 21. But again, his fixtures just really aren't too ideal, so whether it was even a ban or not, he probably would have been coming out for me. So with that being said, this is how the team is currently looking at the minute. And for me, I'm actually very, very happy with the way it is looking. I think, a lot of people are making wildcard drafts at the minute with the second wildcard now being available. And my team is looking pretty similar to what those wildcard drafts are looking like. I think for me, if I was to wildcard at the minute, I would probably only make about 4 changes to the team. That would be Flecken coming out, because he is, he's got pretty poor fixtures. I think he's got Man City, Arsenal and Liverpool in the next 4, or the next 5, something like that. Not great fixtures anyway. Odegaard would probably come out because I've not really been too impressed with him. And then Lewis and Moreno on the bench are probably the other 2. Other than that, I think I would pick every other single player that I've got in there. So with 4 changes, I probably get the perfect Game Week 20 team. So, very, very ideal at the minute. And in terms of their replacements, I think Flecken would go to a Pickford or Sells. My defenders would go to probably Lewis Hall to complete the triple up with Newcastle, and then I would probably get another Nottingham Forest defender in there, whether it's Milenkovic or Aina. And then Odegaard, for another midfielder at the minute, I'm kind of struggling. I think I'm kind of looking at maybe Bruno Fernandes next week. I think they've got Southampton at home, so Odegaard to Bruno could be a potential move for myself. But yeah, for me, I'm not for this week. If I was to wildcard, I'd kind of struggle to find a midfielder. I guess potentially Mbeumo with the game against Southampton, but then he has poor fixtures after this week as well. So yeah, again, like I said, very happy with the way things are looking. Defence is looking brilliant. Trent, Gabriel, 2 most essential defenders in my opinion at the minute. Castagne, 4.2 million, fantastic value. Hasn't really get the same amount of points as Robinson has that we had been hoping for him to do, but you're getting them for 0.5 cheaper than Robinson is, and he's still getting the clean sheets and stuff that Fulham are picking up. For the midfield, obviously Gordon, tip-top form at the minute. Salah and Palmer, everyone has them. Rodgers is suspended at the minute. 5.5 million he's up to now, but he'll be coming back into the team next week. I had no interest in getting rid of him anytime soon. And then, of course, the front 3 that I've already spoke about. Potentially the best front 3 in the game at the minute. So that does leave me with 1 extra free transfer, which I think I am going to be rolling this week. But if I was to bring anyone else in this week, these are the best 4 teams with the best fixtures for Game Week 20. It's going to be Aston Villa with Leicester at home, Fulham with Ipswich at home, Man City with West Ham at home, and Southampton with Brentford at home. So, comparing my team to these fixtures for Game Week 20, for Aston Villa, that's where I've got no one. I'm kind of struggling in that department. Obviously, I would have had Rodgers, but he is suspended. Watkins is someone I would really like for this week only. Obviously, Duran's suspended. We'll see if he comes back into the team or not. But Villa do have pretty poor fixtures for the next 2. In the short term, with Everton away and Arsenal away, 2 very solid defences, and I wouldn't really want Watkins long term, which is again why I've brought in Chris Wood, and not worried about Ollie Watkins. I think Villa on the longer term, Game Week 23 onwards, they're looking a little bit better, but for now, I wasn't going to bring in any Aston Villa players just for a 1 week punt. For Fulham, probably the best team out of these guys for short term and long term fixtures. Well, I say long term, I mean the next 3 weeks. I've got Castagne, I've got Jimenez right now. Would personally like a triple up. Robinson would probably be on the radar to double up on the Fulham defence, being one of the top 4 defences in the league this season. Ipswich at home, West Ham away and Leicester away. 3 really, really nice fixtures for Fulham. Then it gets a little bit more tough in Game Week 23 with Man United and Newcastle. So again, potentially, I think right now for me, I'm happy with the way my team's looking. Again, as I said, everyone's got a decent enough fixture, so I'm not really looking to make any transfers at the minute, even though a Robinson and a Fulham triple up would make sense. I think at the minute I am, wary about the weather reports, potentially games getting cancelled. I think I would only make an extra transfer for Alex Moreno if there was heavy reports that There was going to be a few games cancelled because it could be a week for the vice captain, it could be a week for the bench players, and at the minute I've only got one good bench player, and that's Rico Lewis. And if he can even be considered a good bench player, because Man City have been honking. For obviously the second bench player, it's Alex Moreno right now, so he would potentially go to, I think I can afford Lewis Hall, so Lewis Hall would be an option, or Robinson for the double Fulham defence. That would only happen if there was, strong rumours of games getting cancelled, and I would maybe need to really use the bench. So yeah, that's kind of how I'm feeling at the minute with that. Man City, I'm not looking to touch Man City at all. I've got Lewis at the minute. I want to try to get him out as soon as possible, but they've got a nice fixture with West Ham, and I think he does just kind of tick along. He's a good player to have on the bench, so I'm not. He's not like a priority transfer at the minute. I could wait a couple of weeks, I think, for him. City don't have great fixtures long term, so the sooner I can get him out for someone else, the better. Then obviously Southampton, I'm not really focused at all in Southampton, so no players to worry about there. So that's how the team's looking. Again, very happy with it. I think in terms of future transfers, trying to build them up. Odegaard potentially coming out for Bruno, and then trying to just bulk up the defence a little bit, removing Lewis and Moreno. Moreno was nice for a couple of weeks, and then he's just kind of lost favour in the team. He's not playing. Nico Williams seems to be playing in that left back spot ahead of him, so the sooner I can get him out, the better as well for a playing defender. Again, Hall and Robinson are the two on the radar at the minute, so that's how it's looking. That's some ideas into the future plans. 1.3 million at the minute. I feel like I've got a good enough team to potentially shoot me into the top 1 million this week if we can have a really good week from everyone. So let me know what you think of the team down in the comments section. Are you making the same transfer? Are you making similar transfers as well? Let me know. Make sure to subscribe as well if you are new, and good luck for game week 20, and I'll see you all in the next video.